Hi, my name is Mark, and I honestly wish I never Googled my girlfriend. I discovered something terrible, and now I can't unsee it. I'd like to share my story with you, maybe as a cautionary tale, or perhaps just to get it off my chest. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I'm still kind of grieving our relationship. She was my first girlfriend, and I'm still not fully over her. I've always been kind of lonely. Not exactly a loner, mind you. I did have friends and got along well with guys. When it came to girls, I simply couldn't figure out how I was supposed to talk to them to get them to like me. I was kind of awkward and geeky and super shy, so you can guess that girls never even gave me a second look. That was really heartbreaking, though I didn't admit it out loud. I tried to pretend like I didn't mind at all, but I really did. But before we move on, like this video, hit that subscribe button, and activate the notification bell. This will let you live 20 amazing years longer. Trust me, it works. All through middle and high school, I barely talked to a single girl, even my classmates. I told everyone that I didn't want to date at all because I had to focus on my studies. Now, that wasn't a complete lie, mind you. After all, my parents were super strict and expected me to get straight A's. I studied very hard and was the best student in my class. I also had signed up for all these time-consuming after-school clubs, like math, chess, and robotics. It was really entertaining as well, and my parents were happy about my extracurricular activities. They said they'd look great in my college application. All these activities kept me so busy, but I still had time to hang out with my friends from time to time. Not as often as most of them could get together, but still, I did have close friends, but it wasn't enough. When I was in primary school, friends were all I needed. Girls were weird and icky, you know. But as I grew older, I began to realize that everyone was getting dates except me. At first, I really did believe my own lies. I kept repeating the same words whenever someone asked me why I didn't go out on dates. Oh, I'm too busy, or I need to keep up my grades. But the truth of the matter was, I couldn't get a girl to notice me if my life depended on it. When I realized how lonely I felt, I began trying to get women to take an interest in me. I mean, all the guys I hung out with had girlfriends. Not only did I feel so left out and inadequate, but when they went out on dates, I had no one to spend any time with. So I began feeling lonelier and lonelier. It was getting so bad, and I didn't know how to fix it. Whenever I walked up to a girl at my school, I would just freeze or say something silly. And don't be thinking I was the cute kind of awkward. There's nothing cute about a guy walking up to you and then standing quietly there, opening his mouth like a fish out of water. It was just weird, period. I can understand why girls were super creeped out by me. After a few failed tries to actually talk to my female classmates, the gossiping started. They said all kinds of things about me behind my back. It got kind of nasty. I would see girls looking my way and laughing. I didn't know what they were saying, but I knew it was nothing nice. This didn't help me develop any confidence either, let me tell you. It was a really rough period because people were mocking me almost daily. Girls had all kinds of theories about me, and they called me a freak and a stalker. I've never stalked anyone, but I admit that standing there with my mouth agape doesn't look good. So I understand why they didn't like me doing that. My friends were really supportive. They tried to help me so many times. I can't blame them for not trying, but nothing worked. They tried to help me meet girls, but they weren't interested. They even asked their girlfriends to hook me up with one of their friends, but most of them flat out refused. The few that agreed simply couldn't find a single gal who said yes to a blind date with me. Now, I'm not terribly ugly. Sure, I'm not a looker, but the real problem was my shyness and awkwardness. I had one thing going for me, however. I'm loaded. My family is really wealthy, and I get a monthly allowance that is bigger than many people's entire salary. I'm not the kind to boast about it, so most people don't know this fact about me. I do have a brand new car my parents gave me after I got my license, though, and all the tech gadgets a geek's heart could desire. So someone with a keen eye for such details could realize easily that I come from money. Mom and Dad are super successful business owners, and if you Googled their first and last name, you'd find them listed in Forbes. Since I didn't want a girl to date me just because I was wealthy, I didn't tell people about it. And even if I had wanted to do that, it would be hard without being able to even talk with girls. One day, though, everything changed. I was getting a cup of coffee on my way to school when a girl standing behind me on the line started talking to me. She was so beautiful, I couldn't believe it. I began stuttering miserably, but she was so patient with me. Her name was Michaela, and she laughed at the few silly, awkward jokes I managed to mutter. She was the girl of my dreams, so sweet, so beautiful, so understanding. It seemed like destiny finding her there on my way to school. If I hadn't stopped to get coffee, I would have never seen her beautiful smile. I think I fell in love with her during those first few minutes. I couldn't stop staring at her. Michaela actually had to convince me to head over to school, or I would have been super tardy. She gave me her phone number, though, and asked me to text her soon. You can't imagine how excited I was about it. The second I walked into the classroom, I sat down next to my best friend and told him all about my chance encounter with the most beautiful girl I had ever met. He was happy for me, and we began talking about what I should do next. He helped me write that first text to Michaela, and she answered most straight away. I couldn't believe my luck. Little by little, I began feeling more confident. Honestly, just having a girl notice me and act kindly toward me helped me massively. It was as if suddenly I realized that I could actually talk to one without exploding into a million tiny pieces. I understand that sounds a bit silly, but I really didn't feel it was possible for me to have a normal conversation with a pretty woman without ruining everything. Michaela made it seem so incredibly easy. She never mocked me and was so incredibly patient. This gave me the possibility of finally developing some self-confidence, and surprisingly, I discovered I could even talk to other girls without making a fool of myself. That didn't mean I dated anyone else, though. I was madly in love with Michaela and wasn't interested in meeting anyone new. I asked her to be my girlfriend, and much to my surprise, she said yes at once. We dated all through the last few months of high school, and everything seemed perfect. I couldn't be happier. My parents allowed me to go out with her as long as it didn't interfere with my studies. I worked super hard to keep up my grades, believe me. I didn't want to give my parents any excuse to tell me I should stop seeing her. Michaela went to another school, but we both graduated in the same year. We went to different colleges in different states. That was kind of a heartbreaking realization for me, but she assured me that we could make it work. She wanted us to have a long-distance relationship, and I would have agreed to just about anything to avoid breaking up with her. She was my first girlfriend after all, and up until that moment, I really thought she was also the love of my life. Michaela was super sweet to me all through that difficult period. I missed her terribly, but she was supportive and that made me feel better. I really felt like she missed me as well. We talked every single night on the phone and told each other about our days. We rarely had any video chats since she claimed that her internet connection was super bad. I was a fool and believed her. Why wouldn't I when she seemed to be the perfect girlfriend? Now, the problem began when I heard someone calling her Alice in the background. It was so odd, and I couldn't understand what was going on. I asked her about it, and she claimed that it was just the TV. She said she'd lower the volume, and that was it, at least for that night. A few days later, the same thing happened. Someone called her Alice, and I asked her about it all over again. She again claimed it was just the TV. She watched a show that had a character named that way. I found it really weird, and the thing is, this kept happening over and over again. She eventually just told me not to worry about it, that it was nothing. I knew there was more to it and began growing really suspicious. So I decided to call my friends and ask them about it. They also thought it was super weird and recommended I should investigate a bit. Honestly, I felt sick to my stomach. I was so worried I'd find something bad about Michaela. She seemed so perfect for me. I typed Alice on Google as well as the city she lived in and a bit more of information I knew about her. Well, I wish I could say that nothing came out of that search. That would be a lie. I stumbled upon a Facebook page, and the girl in the pictures looked just like Michaela. No, she didn't look like her, she was Michaela, but her name was completely different. She didn't mention me at all on this account, and even had another guy listed as her boyfriend. I kept digging a bit deeper and discovered an Instagram account as well. There were so many pictures there with this other guy. She even claimed that some of the gifts I had gotten Michaela, or rather Alice, were things he bought for her. It was then that I realized that her name wasn't Michaela, and she had been lying to me all this time. She had a double life, and apparently had discovered I was loaded. I couldn't believe someone could be so manipulative and cruel. I didn't know what to do next, and I considered my next move carefully. A part of myself wanted to confront her, but I wasn't sure if I was strong enough to handle that discussion. In the end, I decided that I couldn't deal with her lies, and she didn't deserve a phone call. I broke up with her with a text message, and I might have called her a few nasty names. Well, I'm not too proud of that fact, but I was so angry. She tried calling me so many times, but I never picked up the phone. I have a few long emails from her, but I refuse to even read them. My friends have checked them out and assure me it's all full of BS. Why waste my time with even more lies? So, that's the story about how I got my heart broken by my first girlfriend. I'm still not fully over Michaela, or Alice, or whoever she is, but there's a silver lining to all this mess. At least I've learned how to speak with girls without making a fool of myself. I think that soon I'll try to ask a girl in my class out on a date. Since I'm able to talk to them now, I figure it won't be as hard as it was back when I was an awkward teenager in high school. Truth be told, I want to move on and find true love. It's hard trusting someone after everything my ex did, though. Thank you for watching. What's the worst thing an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend put you through? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and check out other videos on the channel.